The first women's trilogy in the history of the UFC, Valentina Shevchenko versus Alex Grasso, and it goes down on this Saturday. Let's discuss.
Oh, Alexa caught her with that right hand. Look at this timing in this takedown. That's too tight. This is so tight. This is so tight. Really tight. And then she got it.
It has been a long 6 months for the former champion.
Nice double leg. I mean, look, drives through.
She had a couple shots trying to get inside there.
This bout is considered a split draw, and still the undisputed UFC flyweight champion of the world.
What's up, guys? Laura Sanko here. As always, I am alongside, theoretically, through internet and time and space, Dean Thomas, the great Dean Thomas, the professor, the amazing cornerman who got Sean Brady an incredible win. Not that you got it for him, but he did look really good.
Well, we work, man. We work on the little things, but I'm just surprised you ain't talking about the guns that are hanging out right now. I ain't got no sleeves. I ripped the sleeves off.
I didn't want. I didn't know if like you were advertising or if we were keeping it quiet, that you just sort of stay strapped in that sense.
Laura, I stay strapped.
I know.
I gotta let these young dudes know.
I
The
didn't know
older
if you
I
were
get, I
allowed
gotta
to
let them
everyone
know.
else know.
Yeah, I'm strapping.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
didn't want to put you on blast like that if you weren't ready. I am not strapped. I'm not.
That's okay.
There was a time.
Don't worry, I got your back. Listen, you got beef in the streets, you let me know. I got your back. I got a whole mob of goons with me too.
Oh my
Again,
God.
Philly adopted me, and I got goons in Philly right now.
You got some Philly goons?
I got Philly goons all through Philly, South Philly, North Philly, all through Philly. I got goons.
Ooh, that's the best type. I'll take you up on that if I ever run into some trouble in the streets, Dean. I don't even know how to segue from that. You know who's not in trouble in the streets? Alexa Grasso. We are here to talk about the co-main event of UFC 306, Noche UFC, Riyadh season, UFC Sphere. It has like 5 different names, but it should, because it's a grandiose show that will happen one time and one time only. We won't go into the details. If you want to hear some interesting behind the scenes details about what is going to be taking place, check out the main event breakdown that Dean Thomas and I do together for this card. We kind of go into detail there a little bit about that, so we won't bore you here with that. But co-main event, Women's Flyweight Championship, the first women's trilogy in the history of the UFC, Dean Thomas, which I thought was kind of interesting. There have been 17 trilogies, not a one between the ladies. We got our first.
I didn't know that neither until I was on the desk show with Karen Bryant. She brought that to our attention. And I was blown away by that because it felt like we've had some trilogies between Rose Namajunas and all the
everyone
different rematches she fought.
Between Amanda and...
Yeah, and there's never been a trilogy. I was like, what? But, I mean, if any trilogy makes sense, it's this one, because the way the first fight went and then the second fight, I mean, this just makes perfect sense. It's a perfect storm of events that have led us to the Sphere with Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. It's an amazing story between both of these young ladies, so I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't either. And they're both coming off the back of coaching a season of The Ultimate Fighter across from each other. And I don't know about you, but I am fascinated by the psychological play between these two. It's not big, it's not flashy. They're not like saying horrible things about each other's families. They would never do that because they are classy women. But there are definitely some little undercurrents here and there. And the one that I appreciate on an artistic level is the way that Valentina continues to just, in her own like queen in my power condescending sort of way, when she was talking about how she's like, this is Noche UFC is not even really about Mexican history. It's not. That is an absolutely fantastic slap in the face. It's so classy, but it's so like, I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, I think she's just upset because I think they kind of forced her hand into this, because I don't think she really wanted to fight here and be a part of this, because it's a celebration for her opponent.
Sure.
So I don't think she really feels all that, this level of respect. Like, she's going in 0-1-1.
Yeah.
So she hasn't won. And I think she feels a little, like disrespected by having to fight on Alex Grasso's terms.
I know. It's like she is irritated, but in a classy way. She is so irritated by this whole set of circumstances, but she's going to rise above and she's going to take the higher road like she always does. And she's going to be the champion that she knows that she is. And she, the fact is, and I did not go back and watch the last round. I should have done that, but I ran out of time because I was preparing for Contender Series. I don't recall thinking it was a clear 10-8. And that is the one scorecard that kind of changed the whole complexion of the relationship between these two women, because it's what caused that one scorecard in that one round, caused the draw, which caused the trilogy. So she has a pretty good case for saying, no, I should have won the fight,
That's a pretty good impression. I got to give you your props on that.
Thank you. I'm going to slip in and out of it throughout this whole thing.
But even in the first fight, she had moments where she looked like the better fighter.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes, like, she looks like the better fighter between the two.
She looks stronger. I think
she looks stronger. It just looks like she was a little shell shocked by the fact that Alexa had her number on the feet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like she was a bit confused that Alexa had her number on the feet, which caused her to change her game plan and caused her to get a little gun shy. Right?
Yeah.
So, but in moments, she looks like she's the better fighter. Like, it looks like if she would have just settled down on her feet and stand on business and go, all right, you want to go toe to toe? We can go toe to toe. But it doesn't seem like she's willing to do that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think she's kind of like, it looks like she has to like wrestle in order to win. And she's been so successful at that. And she kind of exposed Alexa in those areas.
Hey guys, this video is powered by Bet365 as part of their sponsorship of the UFC in the UK and Ireland. So if you're in the UK and Ireland and join Bet365, if you can use code Sanko when you sign up and let them know that I sent you, I would be super grateful.
She did. And I think that we were all a little bit surprised by, it's not a giant gap, but she is the better grappler. At least that is what we've seen thus far. And Alexa is the more fierce striker. Valentina, technically speaking, is always going to be excellent, but there is a fierceness to the way that Alexa approaches the striking game, the boxing in particular, that has really given Valentina some trouble. So like you say, I mean, I love that. She needs to go out there and stand on the business.
Yeah, she needs to stand on business here.
Yeah.
But the wrestling is an interesting thing too. And I know I spoke about this in talking about Sean O'Malley and Merab on many occasions. And that is, and the reason why I can speak on this for this situation in particular is I spoke to Victor Davila. How do you say his name? Davila. In the restroom. Had a restroom conversation with Professor Victor Davila.
You're going to need to be more specific about exactly what phase of the restroom y'all were in. Are we washing hands?
I was, he wasn't.
Team, you can't speak to a man when he's got his pecker in his hands.
Well, hey, listen. Sometimes you gotta get the information when you can get it.
Fair enough.
And basically, I was just kind of like, because Victor's a jiu-jitsu guy. Diego Lopez, a jiu-jitsu guy. And they've figured out how to handle some things on the bottom, again, that I was talking about that maybe Sean O'Malley could use. They've been able to do some things on the bottom that could nullify the aggressiveness of the top person and go, okay, this ain't so bad.
I was going to say, if anybody would be well suited to teach what it looks like to be aggressive from your back, from the bottom, it's Diego Lopez. I mean, she's got the perfect teammate slash instructor.
My point exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this fight is so interesting, because they've spent so much time with each other that now they have so much information about each other that they can really formulate a good game plan. Now, I think that favors Alexa more, because I think Alexa had more room to grow. She had a lot more room to grow. And I think that if she figures out those areas in the wrestling, figures out what she needs to do in order to be comfortable on the ground, whether that's on her back or getting back to her feet, I think she has the ability and the potential to pull that off. In terms of Valentina, for me, what Valentina needs to do is more psychological, and that is be willing to stand on the business.
Stand on some business.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's such an astute analysis, because as I sit here and think back, when she describes her style, when she has always described her style, it has always been with this air of like wanting to have the perfect fight, you know, like not getting touched, being technically dominant over an extended period of time, and just outclassing, you know, creating this gigantic technical gap between me and my opponent to where it's just obvious that I'm the better person. You don't hear her talk about, you know, laying it all out there. That type of stuff is not the way that she articulates how she sees a good fight. And I wonder if she can make that adjustment and just say, you know what, it may not be pretty, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fucking scrap. Because I think she's got the power.
Yeah, and I think she actually has the ability to do that.
She has moments
but when you put
of it.
but when you put that level of pressure on yourself for perfection, and you start judging yourself in the fight, it don't work. I just sat with a friend of mine. She's a shooting coach for basketball, and she says you're allowed to judge yourself on the practice reps, but in the game you can't judge them. You can't judge yourself. It either goes in there or it doesn't, but you keep working, keep shooting. And that's what Valentina has to do. It's like when she goes out into the fight, like she can't allow herself to get caught up in judging how good her performance is in the middle of the fight, because that's how you end up always one step behind.
Can you make that adjustment at 36? And I can say that as a mature woman of nearly 42.
Whoa. Hey, don't worry. I'll be 48 in a couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Dean. Damn, Dean.
Still got the guns though. I'm still strapped though.
Straps.
I still hang with the young boys though.
You're making 48 look tremendous.
Yeah.
But 36 is, you know, it's not old, but it's the beginning of what we call old in MMA. It's the beginning of that, if we're being honest. So I guess my question is to you, can she make those adjustments at this stage in her career?
See, the hard part is physically, I think you could make them, but at 36, what I'm talking about is more psychological.
Yeah.
And at 36, you're just in a different place psychologically. Like you're like thinking about vacation and bills and what you're going to do after the fight. Now, that may not be what we admit to, but that's just what happens. Like we don't like to admit that, but that's just you just don't want to slap a person in the face no more after 36. It just happens. I don't know if she can make those adjustments.
Yeah. Does that tell me?
I'm not gonna count her out, but I'm just saying.
How could you? How could you? Yeah. She's for sure a Hall of Famer. One of, if not she's the best flyweight in the history of the division thus far. And you know, her last performance was one wayward scorecard, one round away from evening up, you know, these fights between her and Alexa. So I guess it's interesting to think about what can change in a year and what can't change in a year, right?
But that's the thing. And that was part of the strategy going into the Gilbert Burns fight, is that we knew Gilbert is a dog. But at a certain age, you just, you know, psychologically, you just are okay with not being a dog, right? You're just not willing to be on the porch barking at cars as they go by. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you still can't fight or still bite a person, but you're just not willing to be on the porch. And that's what I kind of feel about fighters over 36 is that they're still good fighters. They're still tremendous. It's just, are they willing to do what a 26-year-old is willing to do in order to win? And a lot of times that answer is no. And they don't recognize it until they're put in the position to do it. Now, if they're never put in the position, it's not a factor. But put them in the position where it's like, all right, there's a sandwich in the middle of the cage, winner gets it. Like sometimes they're just not willing to die for that sandwich. And that's how I feel about fighters over 36. Now, Valentina could prove me wrong, but I think if it comes down to it, I think she's not willing to do it.
I will say that age has caused me to give up some sandwiches, Dean.
Right? You know what I'm saying? It's just and it's not necessarily a physical thing. You're just like, been there, done that. You know what? Let's try something else. You know, I don't really feel like
it's you know what's weird? I'm gonna probably spend way too long on this rant, but like, I just remember being younger and looking at people my age and making assumptions about why they couldn't do the things anymore. And my assumptions were not entirely accurate about why they couldn't do the things anymore. And I think what you said is really an interesting take on it, because it is, and it's not even necessarily a bad thing. You kind of just you don't need the sandwich anymore. Like,
yeah, you're like, do I really? I mean,
you want the sandwich. You want to fight for the sandwich. You could maybe fight for the sandwich, but you're like,
is the juice really worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
I can just go home, like, because there's a point where you just get like, when you have a career like these women have, like especially Valentina has, like she's lost before, and she knows how that feels, and she's like, all right, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, doesn't ruin my legacy.
It's not gonna. I'm still a Hall of Fame, and all those things are in the back of your mind, and it's just like, is it that big of a deal? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I've already been here before. Now, different circumstances, different people are a little bit different, but I think in this situation, based on what her performances have looked like and where she is, like she was at the top of the division for so long, like in her mind, that's still where she's at. And now that it's not there no more, she probably doesn't really have that in her to try to prove it again.
Do you think, though, and I'll let you go on this last topic because we're going long, but do you think that if she were to lose this fight to Alexa, do you think she retires, or do you think she goes up to 135 where it's just like, I would imagine she'd be like, this has got some good fights here for me?
No, I think she retires. I think that she might not announce it that day, but I think you'll see it in her face, and then she's going to see Kayla Harrison's next fight and then go, yeah, I think I'm going to stay retired.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Kayla Harrison's got a couple left in her to when she gets to this point. It's just now she's in the UFC, like she's going to take advantage of this for a while.
She has a new level of invigoration because she's
for
a brand new setting. Yeah,
for sure. But I think with Valentina, there's no need for her to try to climb back up the ladder if she gets knocked back down.
Yeah.
I think it'll be so disheartening to her to lose again, to be like, you know what, I'm just done. I'm done. There's no need for me to go back out there and do this anymore.
How's this fight going to go down on Saturday?
I think that Alexa makes the adjustments. I think her wrestling shows better. I think she defends more takedowns. I think she might get taken down a little early and easily because like her stance is always tall. Mm-hmm. But I think as the fight plays out, she starts defending more takedowns, and I do think that her bottom game is going to be better this time, to where she has more offense off of her back to keep Valentina a little off balance. But I think Alexa wins. I think she wins a decision, and Valentina is the last we see of her.
And the sphere explodes.
And the sphere explodes.
Literally.
Yeah.
No. That's going to be crazy if that is how it plays out. I can only imagine the scenes from the inside of that venue are going to be incredible. I'm so jealous that you get to go there and participate in that.
I'm upset that you don't get to go.
I'm okay with it, to be honest with you. It was an option that I could have forced my hand a little bit if I wanted to, but I opted to, because I've got Contender Series every week. It would be 10 days away from my son, and he's got sports, and so I will be a very excited fan watching from the comfort of my living room, and I'm okay with that. But you got to fill me in on all the fun.
I'll fill you in on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that like some even production people, like they were like, yeah, we're not even allowed on the floor. Like desk
No, it's
people are not even allowed on the floor.
very secret.
Yeah.
Very secret. And there's,
Oh,
you mean like in terms of on the night? Yeah, they're like,
Yeah,
make it
night
very,
up. They're not even allowed on like they have to stay in their area. They're not
Yep.
even allowed on the floor.
the people that will be in attendance, I'll just leave it at that. It's going to be crazy. Whole night's gonna-
Word.
Yes, it's going to be crazy. All right, guys. We've left enough little Easter eggs for you guys to find in this fight. When it goes down on Saturday, we are talking about UFC 306, Noche UFC, Riyadh season, the Sphere, all the things. Dean, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for missing dinner on my behalf. That just means a lot. Seriously.
You know what? I had to send a message to them, let them know what's more important to me. Laura Sanko is more important to me. One-on-one.
It is host before bros. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dean. Guys, keep it locked in right here. We've got plenty of stuff on this channel for you guys to enjoy. Please click like. Please click subscribe. It helps us out so much. Check out these other videos, and we'll see you next time.